Okay, we're going to look at something today that I've written up in great detail. So for those who are interested in kind of the more technical descriptions of what's going on, what we're doing here is related to off-centered overcoding. But for the rest of you normal people out there, the non-super mathy people, it will be easier, I think, to understand by way of an example here. So I have here a deck of cards. And so what I need you to do is just tell me when we need a number of cards to work with. And so if you were here, I would have you just tell me, when to stop. And maybe you say stop. Okay, very good. I'm going to put these back. Okay, so we have these cards that we're going to work with. Okay, so let me just show you the procedure itself, the mechanics, and then we'll apply it. Okay. Now the word coat stands for count out and transfer. Okay, now all that means is like deal to the table and drop the rest on top. That's all that means. Okay, so what I need you to do is, I honestly don't know how many cards we have here, probably 15 to 20 cards or something. I just need you to choose a number kind of smaller than the packet size. Now you're not here. I wish you were, actually. It just makes life easier if you have a live spectator. So why don't we, let's see. We'll go ahead and roll this twice. We can probably do 3 times, maybe. I don't want to go beyond the packet size. We'll roll it 3 times, and whatever the dots add up to, that's how many cards we'll count out. Is that fair? Okay. 4 plus 2 is 6 plus 3 is 9. Okay, so we're going to just count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, and then after that, we're going to perform something that I've shown in many, many other videos. It's called the first shall be last, and the last shall be first shuffle. Now, it's kind of a weird name, but it's descriptive. And all it means is what you do is you begin, as a performer, you begin dealing out the cards until the spectator says stop. And then you deal into another pile until they tell you to stop. That's fine. Keep dealing, and then you go on to the next one, wherever they say stop, and so forth. And now, what we do for the first shall be last, the last shall be first, is the last cards dealt are the ones that are picked up first. Okay? And all that means is you just stack them in the opposite orders in which they are dealt. Okay? It's just a fancy way of saying that. Okay, so we've counted out, was it 9 cards, I guess, that we kind of randomly got. And then we did the first shall be last shall be first shuffle, and then we do 9 cards again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so that is the mechanics. That is, let me bring the deck over here. That's the mechanics of this whole procedure. Put those on top there. So why don't we go ahead and kind of apply it to some randomly cut off portion of the deck. Okay, so I'll just cut off. I really don't want too many cards, because if I get too many cards, it takes us too long to deal out. Okay, so I've just cut off some, I don't even know how many here, 20 something maybe. Okay, so let's go ahead and perform what we just did a moment ago. So we need to count out and transfer some number smaller than or equal to the packet size. So maybe we'll do the same thing here. Well, let's see, maybe we can roll it 4 times. I'm just not wanting to go over. Ooh, off to a bad start. 6 plus 4 is 10. Oh, 16. We're going to go beyond the packet size. 16, 18. Okay, I may not have that many cards. Let's try it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, we didn't go past. Okay, so that's the first step. And then you do this dealing out, and you might say, stop. Okay, and you need to know that the spectator can freely choose these stopping places. Okay, this isn't being like engineered by me. They're truly saying stop, and then you go on to the next pile. And now, first shall be last, the last shall be first. Just stack in the opposite order. And then, let's see, what was the number of cards that we dealt out? I think it was 18, wasn't it? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, I believe that we've kind of faithfully done those 3 steps. Well, let's just see where that's brought us. I'm just kind of curious as to where that's brought us. So what has happened here? Looks like somebody can't count, by the way. Can you see somebody who can't count? Who can't put numbers in order? Do you know anyone like that? I think I do. I think it's actually me. Do you see some indication that I'm not very good with order of cards? Oh, over here. Oh, yeah. That shows the work of an idiot. So that was me. That was a mistake. Okay, so, but how do I do this? It was supposed to all be in order, and it would have been if I had set it up in order in the first place. Genius. Okay, so how in the world? Think back. You know, if you want to rewind the video and just look at everything we've done these first 7 minutes, whatever it is, and all of this is done in one take, by the way. Now, I do edit out stutters and missteps as far as an explanation or whatever, but I don't cut and then like do a packet switch or something ridiculous. So it's all one take. So how in the world, after that opening mixing of things and then this additional, kind of randomization with the die, how in the world did we accomplish that? Okay, so let's quickly show what I did and how I did it. So I started with, if you remember, well, let me show you what I'm starting with as far as the deck, okay, just so you know. So what I had to start with was this right here, okay. So I started with ace, so it's ace. Now I fixed the wrong ordering here. Ace of clubs through the king of clubs, and then ace of hearts through the king of hearts. So there's kind of in reverse order. Okay, so that's kind of where it's going underneath. That's where I started. That's how the packet was constructed at the beginning. Okay, so there was some setup there. So that's how it was constructed. Now, if you think back to what I did was, we went through and I rolled the dice. The die 3 times, I guess. Anyway, we counted. Well, no. We dealt out a number of cards, sorry. Where you decided how many we dealt. Okay, maybe right there, that's fine. Okay, so this is a certain number of cards. Now, the whole point of all of this is to reverse these cards. Well, what would that do? By dealing these out in the way that I just did, that reverses their order. That reverses the order of the cards, right? Remember, the king of hearts was above. It was in reverse orders. These are currently reversed from what they were at the top of the deck, right? And so if this procedure that I'm going to illustrate reverses the order of the cards here, then we just put it back where it was. Okay, so that's the first little revelation for you as to, okay, how did I do that opening thing? Because now if you go through and you roll this 3 times, so is that 9? 9 again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Drop the rest on top. And then you do a first shall be last, last shall be first. Remember, that's where you deal out cards until the spectator says stop. And then you stack in opposite order, so from right to left, if you're dealing out left to right. Okay, so we've done step 2, and then you just deal out the 9 cards again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so all that will do for this little top portion that was randomly chosen by you, because I was dealing them out until you said stop, and that's the number of cards we would work with. We've just put those original cards back in the order that they were in. Okay, and then if you rewatch the video, all I did was I took this whole packet and I dropped it back on top. Well, what that means is we're just back to the original deck structure that I had set up, right? Ace through king, ace through king. Okay, so my kind of introduction to this procedure, because I reverse counted a certain number of cards to work with, I turned around and reversed those back, and so you're back to where we started. Okay, and then from there, all I did was I just set the deck down. Okay, you remember that? You just set it down. And then I cut off some, kind of almost random portion I just cut off some random portion of the deck. Okay, and I set these aside. Okay, now what I had to do is I just had to guarantee that I cut right at the ace of clubs, which I did just now. Okay, now in the performance I may have fumbled a little bit because I think I could tell that I didn't quite hit my breather crimp. Oh, in fact, that's the secret, by the way. So let me explain to you how I was able to freely cut exactly 26 cards, the 26 cards that I want. Well, what you do, you use a breather crimp. Now, I have a video under my card handling for math nerds playlist. It talks about breather crimps, okay? And breather crimps come in two varieties. One is where you crimp it like this from the top. That's the one I show in that video. And what that allows you to do there is to freely cut to that card every time. That one's very, very reliable, okay? But if you want to cut to one above, the breather crimps here, this is the one that has a little bend in it, and just enough that it allows you to cut to it, but not enough that it's actually detectable. To be able to cut above that, which is what I needed, then you put the crimp in the opposite side of the card. Okay. Okay. So that's all. I just use a breather crimp. That's a pretty common little trick that card magicians use to cut freely to any card that they want to cut to. Okay. So anyway, that's more of a little card mechanics ploy there. But I just needed half the deck. And then I needed this half that had already been constructed, right? Remember? So right now it's in reverse order. So I'd like to have like the ace and then 2, 3, 4 and so forth, okay? But it's in reverse order. Well, the whole point of what I'm showing you today is that this reverses the order of a packet. So now if I go ahead and just illustrate this, it puts it back. It puts it in the order that you would like to have it in, namely the natural ordering of the card values, okay? And so if you remember, what we did was, I think I rolled the die 4 times. We just added the numbers 5, 11, 14, 19, okay? And so here I just counted out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And that really is a free choice. The spectator could have chosen that. I only use a die because you're not here, okay? And now you follow it up with the first shall be last, the last shall be first. And so these stopping places are truly being randomly decided by the spectator. They say, stop, stop, okay? And then if you stack from right to left, that's what this shuffle asks us to do. It can be used as the intermediate step. So all of this, just that part right there, takes care of the, quote, coding of all of the cards in the packet. Okay, so that is just being substituted in. And so now we just have to code 19 cards again. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, and so this packet reversal, this special reversal here, is guaranteed if you perform these steps. It truly is. And K, the number of cards you code, is randomly chosen, truly. And then the first shall be last, last shall be first. He's giving a lot of random choices along the way, and then you coat the same number of cards that you did in the first step, and you're guaranteed to just reverse the order of the cards. And that's all that we've done here. And so you kind of show that, and when the spectator kind of thinks through to, what you did with the packet just earlier, you're kind of really messing around with it because you're showing the procedural steps. And then you showed them all again, in which the spectator is sounding in on, how many cards to deal or how many cards to quote coat. How in the world could it lead to this ordered arrangement of these cards? Okay, so it really will be incredibly surprising for the spectator. It truly was. And hopefully you were surprised the first time you saw it too, right, as I showed it to you. Okay, so anyway, that's just a fun example of this very, very surprising but convincing mixing routine that ends up being equivalent to just reversing the order of the cards. Okay? Now, one of the reasons reversing the order of any packet is of great interest to us on this channel is because most of the packet structures that we work with are invariant under packet reversal. Now all that means is if you reverse the order of the cards in the packet, it will not undermine your ability to finish in the way that you hope to finish the routine. That's the point. So reversing the order of the cards doesn't hurt anything, but boy, this gives the impression that with all of the important choices being made by the spectator, that surely no one could be controlling the cards or have any idea as to where the cards are. And the performer especially, since he's given over so much freedom to the spectator to make these important choices. So I thought I would share this with you. It is a kind of an extension or variation on the off-centered overcoding, in which we insert this as the intermediate step, and because we've inserted this, it now allows us to coat any number of cards. If you go look up off-centered overcoding, there's restrictions on how many cards can be coated on these opposite ends. And it's related to how many cards are coated here. Well, technically we're coding all of the cards here because this is a packet reversal right there. Okay, so that opens the door to coding any number of cards. So we don't have to restrict the spectator in any way, well, just to the packet size. So any number smaller than or equal to the packet size. Okay, so it really does ramp up or supercharge what is normally done with an off-centered overcoding. So thank you for watching. I thought I would share that with you. Since it's using a number of ideas that are kind of unique to this channel. Take a look at the other videos on the Hidden Structures channel. There's many of them at all different levels of mathematical background.